Fox 10 Extra News at 7 starts now.
Thanks for watching Fox 10 Extra News at 7 o'clock. I'm Christina Carilla.
And I'm Mark Martinez. Today, President Trump says that data indicates that the U.S. has passed the peak for the...
And in Arizona, there have been 3,962 confirmed cases, with 142 deaths in Arizona. Maricopa County has the most of those cases, with 2,145 and 60 deaths.
It's been nearly a month now since businesses began shutting down all across the country because of COVID-19 and the outbreak. And for a lot of people, there are a lot of questions as to what happens now. And most states have already started to provide the extra federal unemployment aid. Americans in at least 32 states will get the extra benefits by the end of this week. California provided its first extra payment on Sunday. But several other states like Washington, Colorado, and Wisconsin, they are still struggling to process those payouts.
New tonight, the economy here in Arizona and across the world really hit hard by COVID-19. Economic experts in the Valley have been tracking the pandemic and what it means for residents and businesses here in the state and beyond. Fox 10's Bailey Miller is live tonight with the details on that. Bailey?
Yeah, experts say we are facing the most difficult year since the Great Depression, and they say this recession could last the rest of the year.
It looks pretty dire for a little while, unfortunately.
Dr. Sanjeev Kagram, the dean of the Thunderbird School of Global Management in Phoenix, has been tracking the global economy, predicting months ago if the pandemic became a global event, the economy would see a recession lasting 2 to 4 quarters. Unfortunately, he says that is coming true, adding the hardest hit industries are the restaurants and tourism.
We're looking at more like 9 months before we really see a major rebound. What we're seeing in all the predictions now is that 2020 will be a very difficult year.
According to the International Labor Agency, 195 million people were unemployed before the pandemic. Now, Kagram says there will be double that number formally, but there is hope. He says there is a commitment from governments from a local to national level to pay close attention to the economy.
The fiscal stimulus packages and the other policies that our government is starting to, obviously implement, and many around the world.
And here in Arizona, Kagram does say that the state did have a healthy fiscal position, before this pandemic happened. So he says that could lead us to success after this. He also says as a whole, there could be a big rebound in 2021. We will just have to wait to see. Reporting live, I'm Bailey Miller, Fox 10 News.
Bailey, thanks. Hospitals around the country are seeing fewer patients than normal, and that's affecting their bottom line. As a result, many nurses are finding themselves out of work right now. One woman who worked as a nurse here in the Valley says she recently came back after assisting in New York. She's choosing to remain anonymous, but says when she returned, she found out her hospital was making job cuts, and so she was let go. She says she's been out of work since March.
It's just really hard because I'm personally the main provider for my family, and I'm not working or getting any shifts.
Hospital revenues are plummeting. Mayo Clinic says they're losing $3 billion due to the COVID-19 crisis.
And some Arizonans are celebrating. They're relieved, really, after finally receiving their unemployment benefits after waiting so long and so many uncertainties. The Department of Economic Security said that this week they paid out its highest amount ever in a single week for unemployment benefits, $50 million. But a lot of other people, we're talking those who are self-employed and gig workers, they are still waiting. And tonight, Fox's Steve Nielsen explains why.
William Leslie spoke with us earlier this month about his issues getting in touch with DES.
It seems like after the story with you guys, finally everything started to fall into place with at least that part of it, everything.
He, along with many other Arizonans, will now receive an extra $600 in weekly unemployment. The money's made available by the Federal CARES Act. The Arizona Department of Economic Security said it took weeks to deliver the federal money because they had to patch it into their decades-old computer system.
I was surprised. I wasn't expecting it yet.
Arizona is now one of 29 states sending out the extra unemployment money. The demand on DES has been unprecedented as the extra staff handled 22,000 calls last week. They added a chatbot and extended hours to Sunday starting next week. But so far, Arizona is not one of the states allowing self-employed and gig economy workers to collect unemployment. We introduced you to Jeremy Iverson Monday, who's self-employed and owns a limo company. He's been waiting for weeks to collect.
Denial, 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 denial.
Were you denied?
Yes, sir.
He's frustrated by the lack of answers. But Wednesday, DES revealed the reason the self-employed haven't been able to file is because it's a brand new program being built from the ground up. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, only 2 states have paid self-employed people. I asked DES for a timeline of how long it'll take to build that program so that self-employed people can start receiving benefits, but I haven't heard an answer back on that yet. For those first few weeks that unemployed Arizonans were supposed to receive that extra $600 from the federal government but didn't, we found out from the DES that those retroactive payments will start going through in the next few weeks. Reporting in Phoenix, I'm Steve Nielsen, Fox 10 News.
All right, that is some good news. Thank you, Steve. Supermarket chains, they are calling federal and state leaders to temporarily classify grocery store employees as first responders. Being identified as a first responder would get access to emergency personnel equipment such as masks and gloves. So far, that there has been about 40 grocery store workers across the country who have died from COVID-19, and many of the stores have already implemented safety measures like installing plexiglass at cash registers, but some workers say it's not enough.
Really shouting about it to our federal and state leaders, how we really need this to be an immediate action, again, because it's about protecting not only our associates who are on the front line, but our customers who are in our stores.
And say they're both still actively hiring, and they've seen an increase, they say, in applicants there. Amazon is also still hiring right now. The online retailer filled its March 16th pledge to hire 100,000 people across the U.S., which included 4,000 new employees in our state. And now the company is looking to fill another 2,000 positions in Arizona to meet the needs of the COVID-19 demand surge. Amazon employees are also getting an extra $2 an hour through the end of the month.
And if you're one of the many people that are looking for jobs right now, we do have you covered. You can head to fox10phoenix.com/nowhiring. And when you get to that webpage, here's what it will look like. If your company is hiring, you can put in your information here for people to apply. And if you're looking for a job, you just scroll down here and there's a list of all these companies that are hiring right now, looking for people to use in their business. So you can do that by heading to fox10phoenix.com/now hiring.
And some people who are getting those $1,200 stimulus checks may notice something a little bit different when they look at the checks. If you're getting a physical check, you'll see President Trump's name on it. The money is part of the $2.2 trillion stimulus package that was passed by Congress. And while the president's name will be on those checks on the memo line, it's uncertain if his actual signature will be on there. Again, this has never before happened in history, but you'll notice that if you get those physical checks. The IRS launching a new online tool to help millions of Americans who are awaiting those checks. The tracking tool is called Get My Payments. You can find it on irs.gov. And make sure you're on the official government website, though, that ends with .gov. Taxpayers can check their payment status and confirm whether they prefer direct deposit or a paper check, and also enter their bank account information for direct deposit. Now, if you tried going on here today, you probably noticed it was crashing. So many people were checking it later on in the day. It was not working, but hopefully they'll get that back up and running soon. Anybody who has moved since they last filed their tax returns can also update their mailing address right there.
Yeah, Mark, you said it. That tracking tool did crash today. Millions waiting for the money to hit their accounts, eager, pushing that button. Americans reporting errors with the new tool called Get My Payment. It was launched to help taxpayers figure out when to anticipate those payments in their accounts. One taxpayer saying they filled out their information only to get the response that their payment status was unavailable.
The Trump administration asking Congress for another $250 billion to help small businesses impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Nearly all of the $350 billion that was approved has already been claimed. This as thousands of business owners say they're still waiting for some relief. Brian Webb has the story.
Ray Glasses in Central Phoenix has seen better days during 40 years in business. It brings tears to his eyes.
And last week, $85. But I was so happy to get that $85. It was better than nothing.
Ray, who learned about lenses in the Army, has filled out the federal forms but hasn't seen a dime yet as he watches businesses all around him close up shop.
I just want to be here for that 89-year-old lady that just broke a screw in her glasses. She's got nowhere to go.
Across the country, 1.3 million Paycheck Protection loans have been approved, totaling nearly $300 billion. But that puts the program on pace to reach the $349 billion limit in days, if not hours.
We just need a little bit of security right now.
In the meantime, Ray is focused on fixing glasses instead of selling them while waiting on help from Uncle Sam. But somehow, he's still looking up.
I don't have any fears. He's my boss. I work for him.
Brian Webb, Fox 10 News.
New tonight at 7, a new report says the Chinese government waited 6 days before warning its citizens just about how bad the coronavirus outbreak really was. China's president issued a warning on January 20th. Now, that's nearly a week after the Associated Press says officials privately determined that the virus had evolved into a pandemic. Infection data shows that during those 6 days, more than 3,000 people contracted the coronavirus.
And for more information on the outbreak, we have you covered. Just go to this website Fox has created for you with all the news in one place. It's coronavirusnow.com. Still to come tonight, a fast approaching deadline to register for May elections, why you might not be able to do it online. Plus, a study that takes you out of this world, what researchers say happens to astronauts who go on missions to space for a long period of time.
Fox 10 News, keeping you informed.
The number of COVID-19 hospitalizations may no longer be on the rise.
But they are still urging people to continue to do their part.
198 residents have tested positive for COVID-19. 32 have died.
For information you need, trust Fox 10 News when it matters most.